I also want to jokingly say that I feel, except for me, every single other person in India is allowed to share the video. It seems like that because everyone is sharing the video, but the only person who's not allowed to share the video is me.
That's Revant Himmat-Singka, the maker of the controversial Bournvita video that got over 12 million views on Instagram before it had to be taken down along with an apology. Because Mondelez India, popularly called Cadbury, sent him a legal notice and his Twitter account also got suspended. But all this did not go down well with the netizens. The company received a lot of flack on social media for flexing its legal muscle to shut down the criticism of its health drink. While some called it corporate bullying, others suspected that the product indeed would be unhealthy for the company to react like that.
My mother will be disheartened if she knows that the Bournvita she forced me to have was full of sugar.
Cadbury India decided to scare the guy and shut him, which doesn't answer the questions raised in the minds of the users of Bournvita.
The video is an eye-opener for so many of us.
This is not only true for Bournvita, but there are so many other products in the Indian market as well that are slow poison to the consumers.
I have a request. Makers of Cadbury Bournvita must stop claiming it to be a health drink.
Revant went on to make 3 more videos. One on the instant drink mix tank, another on Chyawanprash, and yet another on real fruit juice. For each of these, he got a legal notice. And he had to take them down as well. And like a typical Hindi movie where the police arrives last on the crime scene, India's food regulator, the Food Safety and Standards Authority of India, or FSSAI, took a week to respond to the controversy. And its response wasn't satisfactory at all. As a mother as well as a consumer, I'm disappointed with this development. It raises several questions. Why consumer companies rush to shut down criticism rather than countering it with evidence? What stops the food regulator from enforcing stricter norms for processed foods that are high on sugar, salt, and fats? Does the uproar on social media actually impact the sales of a food brand? And what can consumers like you and me do till the time regulator wakes up? To probe these questions, I speak to the man of the moment, Revant Himmat-Singka, who started it all. Joining in will be Dr. Arun Gupta, a pediatrician and convener of the public advocacy group Nutrition Advocacy in Public Interest, or NAPI. This group of experts has fact-checked 48 leading food brands and called them out as unhealthy. I also have my colleague Ratna Bhushan, ET's ace consumer industry reporter, who will give us a ringside view of the whole issue. Mondelez India did not respond to our email inviting them to be part of this podcast. It's Thursday, April 27th. From the Economic Times, I am Kiran Somvanshi, and today on the Morning Brief, you are listening to Watch Before You Eat. When was the last time you checked the ingredients on the food packet that you were buying? Most of you wouldn't remember, right? Because we either trust those brands or love their taste or believe that if it's a packed or branded food, it would be safe and of good quality. And that's also the reason why most people got rankled with the Bournvita issue. It punctured one of the long-held beliefs about the product. But this is not the first time that such an issue has surfaced. We have always come across news raising doubts about our honey being pure, or our ice creams being made from dairy or vegetable oil, or our breakfast cereal being healthy enough. Consumer companies across the spectrum have been in the news at different points of time about their product deficiencies. For instance, 2 years ago, the Swiss multinational foods company Nestlé was reported to have acknowledged in an internal document that more than 60% of its food and drink products do not meet the recognized definition of health. In fact, some of the categories and products were never going to be healthy, no matter how much they renovated. To this, the company responded that looking at the global portfolio as a whole, less than 30% would not meet stringent external healthfulness standards. In India, public health experts have regularly pointed out the low nutritional value of processed foods. But the companies have either chosen to ignore these warnings, or have resorted to shutting down the negative reviews, or have taken legal action. And many see the Bonvita incident as just that. I spoke to Revant to know about how it all started and what's the road ahead for him.
Yeah, I'm Revant, a certified health coach and a Wharton MBA. I have always seen a lot of companies make a lot of claims, like, refined oil companies making claims that they are heart healthy. There are sugar powder companies that making claim that they'll make you taller. There are juice companies claiming that they have vitamins and minerals. So that really bothers me that, a lot of people fall for all these claims and they actually believe they are true. That's why I decided to make some of these videos. One video, of course, got really viral, but a lot of people don't know that I've actually created some other videos on other companies as well. And I got a legal notice for some of those videos as well, which I also took down. Because it is not about one company. That is the thing. It's not that I am against that one company. I care about the overall infrastructure, about all of this.
So, what has been the response from the viewers as well as the companies after your videos?
Yeah, I got thousands and thousands of messages, emails, calls. Now, thousands of people have started telling that, okay, now I've started turning around the bag of whatever I'm buying. I'm no longer just trusting the front labels. I'm actually going to start reading the labels a bit more. So that has been really positive. There are also some people who have been telling me that this is possibly a beginning of a food and health revolution in India. My relatives have been very scared. They're like, oh, take down the videos immediately. You don't know what you're doing. Why are you trying to, fight against these companies? What if they do something? I am personally not as scared, but my family and relatives are scared. I'll give you an example. Some girl, she tweeted in my favor and she has only 300-400 followers on Twitter. But her post favor of me got viral and that got 100,000 views. So she was scared that she will get a legal notice now. And she deleted a post then. People are so scared of these big companies that what if they say something openly and what if they start getting targeted? So that is another side of things.
What about the companies' response from them?
So I have made only 4 videos and 2 of them were from one company and 2 of them were of another company. And both those companies sent me a legal notice. But there have been other companies which have reached out to me. Some have even reached out to me for promoting their products. But I'm very, very cautious right now because most companies which reach out to me also are not really the best. So I'm trying to not engage too much with companies right now. I'm trying to see what is the best win-win scenario.
So, Revant, how do you probably see the situation panning out?
First of all, I feel I should be allowed to review these products. And I really don't understand on what basis they are giving me these legal notices. But even if hypothetically I am not allowed to, I feel just by apologizing, people get more aware of this entire scenario. So it creates even more of an awareness. So it's possibly a good thing.
So obviously you became an influencer accidentally, right? So how do you see that?
Yeah, in fact, if you look at many news articles, they're not calling me an influencer. They're calling me a de-influencer. Because I'm not influencing, not positively influencing. I'm sort of getting people to not consume something. Most influencers are getting money and then they start promoting products. You have to understand it was a 1-minute Instagram reel. It was not a research report. It's not a 20-page research document. It was a 1-minute Insta reel. Now, because it went viral, all of this is happening. But if you go on YouTube right now and Google the names of the products which have sent me legal notices, there'll be hundreds of people who've reviewed that product. And 5 years ago, also people have reviewed it. 3 years ago, also people have reviewed it. If you go on Amazon, people have reviewed it. So I don't understand entirely why I have been the one who's got a legal notice. Because even right now, there are hundreds of reviews there in the market. I also want to jokingly say that I feel except for me, every single other person in India is allowed to share the video. It seems like that because everyone is sharing the video. But the only person who's not allowed to share the video is me.
Yeah, true. So has anyone from the government or food regulator approached you after the video got viral or after it was taken down?
Not really. Not from the government exactly. I got some email from some advertising board and they asked me, were you paid by some other competitor to make this video? I was not paid by anyone. So I, of course, said no.
After this whole episode now, would you stop making these videos in wake of the legal action or would you do more of it? How do you see that?
I'm going to continue making more videos. I've already made few more videos, although in the recent few videos I've been slightly more, I would say, diplomatic. I've not taken any names, but I will try to figure out a way to like make more videos. And I'm not the only one who's doing this. If you just Google or go on YouTube, there are hundreds and hundreds of people who've made videos on like all these companies. So it's like kind of strange that why am I the one who's getting singled out? Maybe that I was a bit too honest in my review or something like, but like it just does not make sense to me. But I'll continue making videos. I may have to continue apologizing in each of my videos, but I'll still continue making them.
So how have you kind of beefed up your legal expertise? Like, do you have a lawyer now? What are you going to do on the legal front?
No, I don't have any lawyer. I have one or two people, or actually more than one or two, who have reached out to me saying that they are willing to help out. So I am going to consider taking their help, but I don't want to get too much in the legal aspects. I want to, because that just dumbs down the video a lot. Sometimes I ask some of my family members, oh, should I post this? Should I post that? And they keep changing around my words and making it milder and milder and milder. I just want to try to be as straightforward, and as long as I'm speaking like pretty much my opinions, and like my opinions are mostly based on everything is factual.
As Revant plans to continue voicing his product reviews, I turned to my colleague Ratna Bhushan to know Mondelez's response to the controversy. So Ratna, tell me, what was the response of Mondelez India on the issue of high sugar content in the health drink?
So Kiran, Mondelez came out with a statement 3 days after the influencer's post. In my view, that turnaround time itself is too long in times when brands can be decimated within hours on social media. And to answer your question specifically, Kiran, on the company's response, they said, and I quote them, that they witnessed an abnormal amount of traction on the post and that they were constrained to take legal recourse. So they've tried to justify why they sent the legal notice to the influencer. Okay, they've said that the video created panic and anxiety. And on sugar, they have claimed that the sugar content is much less than the daily recommended intake of sugar for children. But that itself is a point of contention. Basically, we don't know the reference point of this daily recommendation they're talking about. It is not backed by evidence. And this is exactly why doctors and nutritionists are skeptical on Mondelez's claims that the consumption of Bonvita leads to muscle growth and immunity enhancement and brain development. Because even in their defense on Tuesday, like after the issue spiraled, even then they have not backed the claim of sugar with any benchmarks, whether it's a WHO benchmark or a benchmark of the FSSAI, nothing. So that is the core issue here.
So on the other side, what has been the FSSAI's response to the whole controversy?
So on Friday, the FSSAI issued statements that it continues to act against packaged food companies which make false and misleading claims. But here again, Kiran, they are not specifically referring to the Bonvita issue. It's like, they're giving a very macro, kind of state. Had a whole lot of, jargon, and they have said that they have taken note of various media reports. And they have said that they actively discharge their role for the sake of consumers. So all that is, a lot of spiel. But what we don't know, and I myself had asked FSSAI in a detailed email, which they have not replied to. I mean, the statement is a very helicopter statement. Me and a lot of other journalists have asked, did FSSAI write to Mondelez for an explanation? Did the regulator ask them to revise claims about Bonvita being healthy? Or did they direct the company to reduce sugar content in their product? So FSSAI has not answered any of these questions. So this is the main thing. We don't know what action they're taking. There is no clarity on any of these questions. And I just want to add here, there's another regulatory issue. There's a brewing conflict between packaged food companies and claims made by influencers. And these influencers sometimes have lakhs of followers on Instagram or Twitter. Now, these influencers, the so-called health influencers, frequently put out videos about, high sugar content or food which is unhealthy or being sold as healthy, whether it's juices or milk drinks or breakfast cereals. Now, the government is planning to introduce guidelines stating that the influencers need to reveal their qualifications before giving advice on health. That also, there is no update. So basically, there is an absence of clear regulation, both on the side from the influencers and for the companies. So when there is an absence of regulation, all these claims and counterclaims can fall through the cracks.
Right. So tell us what response you generally get from food companies, like whenever their food products have come under limelight for their deficiencies, especially, do they really work at improving their products, address the concerns, or, they just have a lip service being given?
Exactly, Kiran, you've hit the nail on the head. Most times it's lip service. And I've been tracking MNCs and food MNCs for a while now. So the companies, while they do address concerns, it doesn't seem to be enough. And there are a couple of points I'd like to draw your attention to. First is that it is not enough when it comes to what they're doing in other markets. Here, the defense which we often get to hear is that they say that India anyway is a country where a vast majority of people do not get the required nutrition. So benchmarking against global standards would be like comparing apples to oranges, is their defense. Okay. Secondly, they say that, Indian consumers talk health and don't walk health. So, so they say that even if we have a product with, low sugar, it doesn't find enough takers. And Mondelez itself had launched a Cadbury Dairy Milk with 30% less sugar in 2019. And they have said in the past that product has limited takers. Even large retailers say that, counters they put for low sugar products don't have enough takers in the market.
But even then, why mislead? Why don't state the way it is?
Exactly. And that is because of the lack of clear guidelines and enforcement of those guidelines.
The civil society groups and healthcare professionals have pointed out that the labeling norms have got diluted.
So the labeling norms have got diluted, and this is something which no packaged foods company will ever say. The thing is that there is a large lobby which is delaying the front of pack labeling on food packs. And it's not just an MNC issue, it's also to do with Indian companies. There is something called the Indian Sellers Group, which are constantly putting out tweets on, why front pack labeling will destroy a lot of ethnic foods, ethnic snacks in India. They say that, if on a packet of laddu or a pack of mithai, if it is written that it contains so much sugar, which is unhealthy, it will destroy the ethos and ethnicity of Indian snacks.
Can transparency destroy ethnicity? Tough call.
This is exactly the point. There are so many angles to it that we have seen so many FSSAI CEOs come and go, and none of them have been able to emphatically implement labeling laws for food packaging in India. And this is the issue because there are multiple stakeholders which are delaying this, on various fronts.
So do you see the Bournvita controversy impacting the sales of that malted food drink or even Cadbury's image in India in any way?
I think it would definitely impact. And the reason why I'm saying is that, see, we are living in a very aware market now. When the Maggi controversy happened, it really didn't impact sales of Maggi. Within 5 to 6 months, when Maggi came back on shop shelves, it regained its market share very fast, right? But in the case of Bournvita, sugar is something which is increasingly a point of concern for a lot of consumers, for a lot of younger consumers, informed consumers. So I feel it's definitely going to impact not just Bournvita sales, but I feel there'll be a there'll be a cascading impact on the entire category. Anyway, milk food drinks is a declining category. We have Kantar numbers which show that the category, the volume sales itself have been declining. The crucial thing here is, Kiran, that, if I'm buying a chocolate or a cola, I know what is in it. I know it's not good. So I will regulate portion control for my kid. But if I'm buying a breakfast cereal or if I'm buying a milk food drink and it is sold only as a health product, when actually it contains, high amounts of sugar, which is absolutely not good. That is the dangerous part. So the regulation, according to me, should clamp down on this misleading claims or products being camouflaged as healthy products when they're not.
But are the regulations clamping down? To know that, I spoke to Dr. Arun Gupta, a pediatrician and public health activist, on what his organization found while fact-checking leading food brands and what has been government's response to that. So, Dr. Gupta, NAPI has fact-checked some, leading food brands.
Right.
And, I saw on the website, you have reports on Maggi noodles, Parle-G biscuits, Kurkure, Lay's, Kellogg's cornflakes, Kinder Joy, Fruity, Sprite, Yippee noodles. There are so many. Can you tell us what you found to be the most common discrepancies with these food products?
We analyzed about 48 advertisements of foods. And then we bought those products and we started checking. In the fact checker, we only include 3 areas. One, whether the food is ultra processed or not, whether it is high in one of the nutrient of concern like sugar, salt, or fat. And thirdly, whether the advertisement is misleading according to the consumer protection law or not. So these are the 3 things we check in the food fact checker and we publish. And all the 48, we found that ads were misleading. All the 48 exceeded the cutoff limits, at least by 1 nutrient of concern. Like there are products which exceeded sugar, salt, and fat both. So like Sunfeast, Mom Magic, cashew, and almond biscuit brand, right? In all the 3. Patanjali Doodh biscuit is high in all the 3. Britannia Nutri-Choice, oat, orange, and almond biscuit is high in all the 3. Britannia Nutri-Choice seed biscuit is high all the 3. Parle-G is high in all the 3. And if we get into according to WHO's norms, and we use WHO's norm because India doesn't have a formal norm now. But India has constructed a small definition now, which is in the draft form, that any food product which is higher than 10% sugar, total sugar, 10% of saturated fat, and 1 milligram per kilocalorie of sodium, people should avoid them or they should reduce their consumption.
But this is interesting. So if there is no regulation right now, a formal one in India, so companies, they follow WHO, what do they do then?
No, they don't follow. The companies follow what it suits them. I don't blame them from this point that why they are doing it, because if I was a company owner, I have an objective to please my shareholders, money goes high, right? So that's the stated objective of the companies they do. But I would certainly argue with anyone, whether it is a company or a government. I mean, health cannot be compromised with this. You can make profits for every damn thing on earth, which may not be disturbing public health from that standpoint. So allowing companies to disturb public health is, to my mind, is a bit of a criminal offense, which I think at the moment we are not very careful about.
Talking about companies, like are the companies bothered, despite their products being called out and, advocacy groups like yours have openly done so. So have they approached you in any way? Any legal action from them? What is the reaction overall?
So far, we haven't received any legal action from the companies. One of the interaction I remember having with Horlicks company when we challenged Virat Kohli and his team that why he is promoting Horlicks. And then the Horlicks team approached and then they arranged a discussion with us on emails and they wanted to meet us. So we had asked several questions to them. They were evading those questions. So they continued to argue with us at length. And we didn't agree because we said this is not a discussion. We have asked questions, you answer them. And those answers which they gave on email, our whole team is technical actually. So we had actually crushed those questions with scientific evidence because they were using fake scientific evidence that they are useful. Let's say Bonvita. If the government told consumer that this is a harmful product, this contains so much, will the company sue the government? No, I don't think so. So that's where the government should intervene. If the company has the right to call them healthy, I mean, consumers should have the right to challenge it also.
So, what has been the government's response to your fact checking and your advocacy work?
We have tried to reach out to the government several times. Government does what they want to do, and very rarely they respond. One thing is that we have been meeting the CEO of the Food Safety Authority. We asked RTI questions. We exposed their lies. So they don't like us much, actually. In my view, they don't like us much because the government doesn't like much of activism, even though it is backed by science.
And what has been FSSAI's response to you on labeling norms?
Very recently, I've met a couple of times the new CEO of FSSAI. They listen to us very carefully and agree with us by nodding that it's important work we are doing. But whether that will bring a change in policy, we will only know because the major work of meeting the government on this front of FOBL policy is we are still waiting to hear the results of that when the government comes out with the final recommendation. We are demanding a warning label which indicates that it is high in sugar, high in fat, or high in salt. Or if it is high in all the three, then there should be 3 squares or hexagons people have used in Latin America. Brazil has used rounded red labels indicating the high in sugar, salt, or fat, whichever the government likes the design. So our aim is that it should be a warning label, not the stars. The government is keen to do stars, assuming that every food product is healthy. For example, I tell you 2 or 3 products example. Britannia NutriChoice biscuit projected as 20% protein on their ads as well as on their packets. Now, by our recommendation, they will get 4 alerts, 4 recommendations that they are harmful. One is high in sugars, fat, and sodium. And there is another one which is high in calorie. That's the 4th one. But if they go by the current star rating the government is proposing, they will get 2 stars on their packet. Right?
Got it.
Yeah, Kurkure gets 1 star by the Indian nutrition rating which they have proposed in the draft regulation. And according to us, there are 3 warnings on it. One is fat, sodium, and high calorie. So dark fantasy chocolate gets 1 star, 3 warnings. My point is this: why a product should ever be given a star, right? Even
Correct. Star is so closely associated with doing well. Kids are given stars in the school when they do well.
say for
Correct.
example, if a product gets 5 star even, right, that product still remains unhealthy.
Correct.
So government of India is probably listening more to the industry. At the moment, they got the research done from IIM Ahmedabad. Again, the body which is close to the industry. They spent 3 crores to get a recommendation that puts stars on these products. But at the same time, I'm happy that National Institute of Nutrition, which is government's body, has come out with a research which shows that warning labels is the best. Last 5 years, men and women both have 25% increase in obesity in India from 2016 to 21. If you want to reduce that speed, you have to cut down on the consumption of ultra-processed foods, high in sugar, fat.
Suppose tomorrow front of pack labeling norms do come out and they are not in line with what you recommended or what you stand for, then would you kind of take the government or anybody to
We
the
will.
court?
We will consider going to court to seek public health recommendation only after the final. We have already discussed it with our senior Supreme Court lawyers, and they advise that let the government come first, and then we have enough scientific evidence.
But Dr. Gupta is aware what a legal court battle means.
We believe that Consumer Protection Act has a more objective definition of misleading advertisements. And based on that, we filed complaints about these misleading 48 advertisements, which we have examined. We filed 4 complaints to, say, Consumer Protection Authority, which has the power to take down the ad, fine 10 lakh, repeat offense, fine 50 lakhs. And first complaint was in August of Real Juice. Second was Britannia Biscuits. Third was again Britannia Biscuits, which included Amitabh Bachchan. And fourth was this Bournvita of January. So far, we haven't got any judgment. So if you don't get a judgment in 8 months, I don't think there is a fun of having authority in my mind.
As I was recording this episode, NAPI issued an official statement strongly supporting Revant's video on Bonvita. And on the other hand, the National Commission for Protection of Child Rights has ordered Bonvita to review and withdraw all misleading advertisements, packaging, and labels on its product. The statutory body has also written to FSSAI and the Central Consumer Protection Authority to take necessary action in this regard. The debate is clearly far from over. Food and public health are closely related. Regulations improving food quality will automatically influence public health outcomes. In that sense, labels on processed foods warning consumers of the high quantities of sugar, salt, and fats is a clear public health measure. A measure that we required yesterday, but we hope that it will at least be rolled out tomorrow. The buck finally stops at the regulatory authorities. And they can either choose to keep the food companies happy by going liberal on labeling norms and turning a blind eye towards misleading advertising. Or they can frame policies that protect the health of millions of consumers who either knowingly or unknowingly are consuming ultra-processed packaged foods. But till that happens, food companies cannot just hide behind the excuse of weak local regulations. Offering high-quality, healthy products to consumers is a good and responsible conduct, even if it may not have been demanded by the ESG regulations. It's high time companies walk their talk. But for now, consumers have little option but to scrutinize their food packs before they eat. Consumer activist Jahangir Gai tells me consumers have two options: either to stop buying such products or to take the misleading advertisers to the courts and spend a lot of time and money in the process. And this is something consumers like you and me cannot really afford to do. So all this makes me wonder, is it so difficult to make money by selling healthier food products? Let me leave you with that question to ponder on. So that's it for today. I'm Kiran Somvanshi from The Economic Times. You are listening to Watch Before You Eat only on The Morning Brief. A special thanks to our guests Dr. Arun Gupta, Revant Himmat Singka and Ratna Bhushan for sharing their amazing insights. And thank you for listening in. This episode was brought to you by sound editor Indranil Bhattacharjee and producers Sumit Pandey and Surohini Jain. Executive producers Anupriya Nair, Anirban Chaudhary and Arijit Burman. We hope you like this episode and hope it will help you make informed choices about the products that you buy and to be vocal about seeking warning labels. Don't forget to tune in to a new episode of the Morning Brief podcast every Tuesday, Thursday and Friday. It streams on Amazon Prime Music, JioSaavn, Spotify, Apple and Google Podcasts. And of course, ET's own audio platform, ET Play. Have a great day ahead.